Ruben Amorim has been sacked as the boss of Manchester United after 14 months in charge. His departure follows comments hitting out at the club's owners following the 1-1 draw against Leeds at Ellen Road. That left them 6th in the Premier League, and here's what he had to say after his final result.
I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach of Manchester United. And that is clear. I know that my name is not Tuchel, is not Conte, is not Mourinho, but I'm the manager of Manchester United. And it's going to be like this for 18 months, or when the board decided to change. So that was my point. I want to finish with that. I'm not going to quit. I will do my job until other guy is coming here to replace me.
Other guy who was coming here to replace me, he knew. And then he done a mic drop and he basically...
Or the 10 guys coming to replace him by the looks of things.
Just before we came back on air after the break, it's breaking news reported from Sky Sports that Manchester United have held informal talks with Darren Fletcher, Michael Carrick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer over the interim head coach role until the end of the season. So it looks like they've spoke with all three of them about who they maybe want. Listen, in my opinion, it's going to be Solskjaer. I think what Man United will do is get Solskjaer back in until the end of the season and do make him aware that no matter what you do, even if you finish second and win the FA Cup, you're not getting the job. You're not getting the job.
If he did that, they'd have to give him the job. They'd have to.
Dan, don't try and bring that round here. What? I know what you're trying to do.
I'm not trying to do anything.
Yes, you are. You're trying to entice me.
If you finish second and win the FA Cup, he wouldn't get the job. Of course he would.
Dan, if we finish second and win the FA Cup with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as interim, you thank Ole and you go in a separate direction. We've been there before. No, absolutely not. So that's the first thing. That's not happening. What I would say is, in a weird way, yeah, there's something about Ole vibes.
Oh, God.
Nah, Dan, hear me out.
Mate, you sound like Rio Ferdinand.
No, just hear me out. Just hear me out. Right now, I want us to... if I could choose, I want us to get a permanent manager now. If I could choose.
I don't think you can, but yeah, fine.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I obviously don't have power to do it. But I think we should be... Because I think we're so scarred from bringing in a manager halfway through the season like last year that you think you can't do it. Emery came in halfway through, didn't he? Eddie Howe came in halfway through.
Yep.
Eddie Klopp. Jurgen Klopp. Making up managers now. Jurgen Klopp came in halfway through, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he did. So... You can get it right if the manager's good enough halfway through the season, if they've got a bit about them, and you don't try and change like what we did with Amorim by bringing in a manager's style that doesn't suit our current squad and a manager as combustible as Ruben Amorim. So then it doesn't work. But that doesn't mean that we can't get in a permanent appointment now. But it comes down to money because this ownership or excuse of an ownership have decided to waste so much money and now have got to pay Ruben best part of £9.5 million. That's why he's walking around in Ray-Bans in the snow, chilling, going to buy a dog or something. Like, that's why we probably don't have enough money. So they're probably left with an option of, we need some calm, we need to, chill out. We don't really have money like that now. What is the best option? Now, if you go and get someone that the players don't know or don't respect, who don't know the club, it ends up looking like Ralph Rangnick on an interim basis because they're like, mate, you can't tell me what to do. I'm not listening to you. Who are you? Who are you, essentially? And Ralph had some good advice that Man United still haven't taken care of, by the way. But in terms of the reaction from the players, you're not going to get it. You can't instill something long-lasting when the players know you're going to leave. If you get somebody that they know and they just play with a bit of freedom and you get some smiles on faces and just go back to basics with one game a week, with Man United currently joint 5th, you got a shot at getting Champions League football.
You've got a shot, but mate, they're not doing this for you, for Manchester United fans, for the good of the club. They are Ineos.
Oh, I thought you meant Ollie or the guys who I was going to say yesterday.
Ineos are choosing the option that saves face for them, saves their skin so they don't get abused because they know that old players coming back, they'll be given leeway with the fans. You'll get the chance of volleys at the wheel or whatever the equivalent would be. It's all to save their 100%. Own skin when all they've done since they came into the club is make awful decisions.
Correct. And it proves that they still have absolutely no plan. And I'm forced as a United fan, and this is what I've been saying, this is the first time in ages where I've actually felt, not in ages, but like the first time ever actually, where I've gone, I just think we're always going to be rubbish. like
you won't.
I know that, but like under this ownership, I'll be honest, I don't see where they start to make good decisions from.
Well, they're not starting
and
now.
I don't have faith. And I said it because people were sort of saying to me, "Oh, you hypocrite! You already said Amorim wasn't good enough, and now he's been sacked. You're moaning." No, two things can be true. Yes, I said Amorim wasn't good enough from Grimsby. I said, I'm done. This isn't going to end well. Okay, and then I was
told, are allowed to change your mind.
100%, but I didn't. I said that he's not the guy. But then one thing is that happening, but then once that man is gone, you then have to look to the ownership to guide you to the next guy. And I don't trust them whatsoever. Every single big decision they have made has been wrong. Dan Ashworth, wrong. Eric Ten Hag, keeping him on, wrong. Giving him £300 million to spend, wrong. Then sacking him, wrong. Well, right to sack him, but do you know what I mean? It's a calamity of errors.
Yeah.
Then saving loads of money by making loads of cutbacks because we're going to run out of money. Remember we were going to go bankrupt? Tried to scaremonger the fans saying we're going to run out of cash. And then all we've done with that cash we've saved on is use it to correct you guys' failings. So that's shocking. It's just, it feels like lies.
Yeah, I
and incompetency.
I wouldn't trust them one bit if I was a Manchester United fan because they've given me no body of work to show that they should be trusted. In the summer, okay, let's say they do this with the 3 ex-players on board. I mean, they're obsessed with I've never known a club. Look, I don't begrudge that you've got loads of history and, these players were great for Manchester United. You've got loads of club legends and icons. I don't dispute that. But I've never known, like, a club that's so obsessed with getting an ex-player in the dugout.
Yeah, that's what we do.
How many of you have now?
And we don't learn. Well, we've had Ryan Giggs, Carrick, Van Nistelrooy, Ollie. I'm going to say that's it.
Dwight York must be the only one who hasn't had the job at this point.
That's
Steve Bruce.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the obsession? Because that hasn't particularly worked.
No, it hasn't. Not really. It's been when it was people like Van Nistelrooy and Ryan Giggs. It was really short term until the manager comes in. Ollie, I think Man United had cycled through so many different types of manager. They thought that the best thing to do is get somebody who just knows the club inside out, knows the DNA. And essentially, for a while, that kind of worked. And then he got found out as like, he's not good enough for this level. So you would like to think, and this is what I'm saying about Ineos, you would like to think they've learnt their lesson.
It wasn't that long ago since Solskjaer was getting the sack at Manchester United.
Not
that long
2021.
ago,
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
Not
he was there from 18 to 21. So it's a step backwards in that way. Of course it is. In terms of what we were under Ruben Amorim, playing a rubbish 3-4-3 of 5 defenders on the back at the back, it probably isn't a step back. It would be a step forward in terms of getting the team to look like what Man United team should look. Because now, basically, you got to remember, we've gone back to like the start again.
You're turning into West Ham though, where it's like this Manchester United way. We've got to get back to doing things that Manchester United.
But we've got to get back to winning. Yeah, you've got to get back to winning. That's the main thing.
That's fine, but it's like,
but not with 5 at the back.
People like we associate Manchester United with fast wingers getting crosses in. Like football's not. I suppose football has gone back to that a little bit actually.
It's exactly what it's gone back to.
You take my point, but that's not how football works nowadays.
No, they need to go and get a manager.
Who? There's no one.
Well, there's candidates.
In the summer, I would, and like you say, I wouldn't trust them to get the decision right.
No, at all.
But I don't see what you do next.
That's what I mean. There's no obvious. This is because you see how you just said that. That's why I'm like, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know anymore. Like, gone are the days of like these really strong candidates where you go, that's what you need. I don't really think it exists.
But don't you think standards are on the floor as well? Because I'm not digging you. I am digging you a little bit. After that Leeds result of the weekend, like Manchester United are happier with the point than Leeds are. But
here's the thing.
Like you saying to me in the summer about Mbeumo and Cunha, like this is what Manchester United have always done. They've took players from other Premier League teams, and for where you are, I accept that they're good players. But like in years gone by, under Sir Alex Ferguson, you'd have signed Harry Kane from Tottenham. You'd have signed Declan Rice from West Ham. So even when you're doing like slightly good things, it's still miles off like the actual standards of Manchester United.
And here's the thing that I do struggle with this when we talk to fans, because our history speaks for itself, right? And you want to get back to the very top. So the very top is you don't miss out on Declan Rice. You don't miss out on Jude Bellingham. We had Jude Bellingham at Carrington. You don't miss out on Haaland. You don't miss out on Kane. But you can do that from a position of strength. When your club has been a certain way through from the decay from the top down that the Glazers have allowed to go through the club, you almost can't hold yourself to that standard anymore. You have to have the in-between bit. It's like Arsenal. Arsenal, they still haven't won the Premier League, but they've only just got near where they can compete for the top players, best team in the league, best squad, etc. 4 years ago, They couldn't do that.
True.
They were buying Pepe. They were getting David Luiz. They were getting Willian back off Chelsea. Like, do you know what I mean? So it took them up. They were getting relegated Aaron Ramsdale from Sheffield United. They were getting players from Brighton. Like, they had to take a while to reshape yourself to be able to get to it. And by doing that, that's buying the best from the Premier League. Make yourself a competitor. You have to go through the gears before you can get back to. So that bit about, how the mighty have fallen, I always push back against that.
That's fuck us.
We know that.
Well,
do you know what I mean? We know that. How am I going to get back to that in one transfer window? I can't go and get Thomas Tuchel tomorrow and say, Man United are back. Now you can go and get Haaland. Now you can go and get Mbappe. No, of course not. We can't. You have to put in the work and get incrementally better. And that looks like something that was a absolute shell and a shadow of your former self, but they're stepping stones to get back to where you were. So I think the neutrals do use that line a lot of like, look how happy they are with a point at Leeds. Well, actually, the context is, look at this manager. They've got 8 players missing, a bunch of kids on the bench.
I don't even recognise Man U when I watch them play anymore.
Exactly. What is it anymore? So when you talk about back to this old guard with the DNA of what, you have to start somewhere. Because we've gone back to the start. So we've completely lost any form of anything that resembles a Man United team. Anything. Because I'm with you. We shouldn't always be like, Sir Alex would never have done that. Or this, that. You've got to be careful with that, right? But I agree with you. Man United, the bar's on the floor. You got 5. We were playing Everton with 10 men. And we had a manager who kept 3 centre-backs on the pitch.
Yeah.
Sir Alex Ferguson, there's loads of clips of him saying, well, you go and lose 2-0. You go and throw a centre. You take a centre back off. You go for it. That's what you do. That's what Man United's about. So back to Darren Fletcher. Ironically, what he will do, or what Ollie would do, is just get those basics right for a very short term. Now, do not get me wrong. I am with you 100%. That's why I'm saying I don't care what results he gets. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or Darren Fletcher. I don't care if we beat City, then go to the Emirates and beat Arsenal and go on a great run, win the FA Cup and finish second. Those guys should not be getting the job permanently.
No.
They shouldn't. And we have to, if we have learned anything, which we haven't learned much because we're clearly going to go back to them, but if we've learned anything, it's don't get excited off of a little bit of good form in an interim basis. But I don't know. I don't trust them to get a permanent role. So if they're not going to get a permanent role, what's the next best fit? When you're looking at an interim manager, the pool is small because no legit guy wants to be an interim for 6 months or with any credibility. If not, they look like Ralph Rangnick, and that's a disaster. So you have to get someone who kind of just knows what. It's like Lampard when he was interim to the end of the season for Chelsea, just to help out because they just love the club and the players will play for him. That's it.
Can we agree then that you wouldn't be able to go and get Unai Emery at this current time?
No, we're not agreeing on that because...
Literally, you're now arguing against what you've just said.
Yeah, but that's because it's you.
You can't... Manchester
all right,
United
okay, we can't get Emery.
You wouldn't be able to.
We can't get Emery.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear from you.
You're listening. For now. In the summer's a different story.
That's not.